Omni-Man, Conquest. Now, when you think about the strongest Viltrumites we have seen on screen so far, these two will be the first characters that come to your mind. The real question is, who is stronger? Now, you have obviously seen the thumbnail, and no, it's not clickbait. In this video, we will look at every statement, feat, and encounter of Omni-Man and Conquest. Why some people believe that Conquest would beat Omni-Man, and why I truly believe that Omni-Man would be the one on top in this outcome. Now, if you haven't read the comics yet, I would advise you to leave this video unless you don't mind spoilers.
So, grab some snacks and enjoy the video.
Stand ready for my arrival, worm.
Let's start with Conquest.
That's a start.
A very, very
Lonely.
old man. I'll go by feats first. Conquest literally overpowered a 400-ton block of solid-tempered steel while being 6 miles below the surface of Earth. This would probably require megatons of force, and he easily escaped from there without breaking a sweat. He also easily overpowers Invincible from Season 3, breaking his bones effortlessly.
Go!
The same Invincible, who is far stronger than before, easily survives a nuclear bomb explosion, which shows that Conquest is just straight up stronger than the majority of Viltrumites, since even a younger and weaker Invincible could keep up with regular Viltrumite soldiers. This man is capable of easily creating continental levels of destruction. He obliterates an entire city while playing with his food.
Shit.
But let's move to statements, because this is where things start getting really interesting. Conquest is stated to be the most feared Viltrumite except the Grand Regent himself. Cecil and his GDA team think that Conquest might be stronger than Omni-Man. Craig and Anissa are among the strongest Viltrumites, and even they talk about Conquest like he is the boogeyman.
But soon, another will come. And if he finds you still resistant to your destiny, he will demonstrate the error of your ways, and this whole planet will pay the price. I pray you come to your senses before then.
While Thrag calls Conquest possibly the strongest Viltrumite except himself, even Omni-Man himself calls Conquest the greatest of Viltrumite warriors. Conquest also fought and almost killed Invincible during their second encounter. And according to Conquest, Invincible during this time period was almost stronger than Nolan. Even Conquest glazes himself, for which I don't criticize him.
All the other Viltrumites are scared of me. They fear me more and more. I am a victim of my own success. Conquest. I don't even get a real name. Only a purpose.
Self-glaze is always tolerated. Conquest appeared in one episode and completely annihilated the main characters both physically and mentally. We haven't seen anyone put Mark through such hell since Omni-Man. This guy might be
Crazy!
So after all of this, you would say, how can you say that Omni-Man is stronger after all of that? How can you say it when even Omni-Man himself says so and almost everybody around him? So this is the part where we switch to Omni-Man. So now, when we listed all the win coins of Conquest, it's time for us to switch to Nolan Grayson. Now, when it comes to the feats of Omni-Man, this guy probably has one of the craziest feats in the entire Invincible story. When he gets trapped in the Flaxen world, he doesn't have to hold back anymore. He completely annihilates the surface of the planet. He generates so much energy and power and flies so fast that he casually creates equivalents of multiple nuclear bombs easily. This is just crazy work here because this guy single-handedly demolished an entire highly developed species. He annihilates surfaces of planets and stops an asteroid the size of Texas. This thing was so much bigger and stronger than the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs This is almost like planetary levels of destruction. Nolan endured probably the strongest weapon on Earth capable of devastating destruction. He also resisted the pulling force of a black hole, and black holes are so freaking strong that even light itself can't escape them. I'm sorry, but Omni-Man could do as much destruction as Conquest ever did on screen, if not more. Still, probably the craziest feat of Omni-Man is making Thrag bleed, and not just make him bleed, but hurt him, even battling with Thrag for a decent time. And I don't think I have to explain that Thrag is stronger than any living Viltrumite except Emperor Invincible. And impressing him is like the best feat you could hope to get as a Viltrumite. Now let's move to statements, where things again become more clear. Nolan is highly respected in the Viltrumite Empire. Other Viltrumites see him as a legendary warrior.
You conquered hundreds of planets, brought glory to the Empire. You were one of our greatest warriors.
Sir, please. I've looked up to you since I was a child. Don't make me hurt you.
Even Conquest himself thought about Nolan as a great warrior with a lot of potential.
I've met your father, you know. He showed so much promise when he was younger.
Anissa also respects Nolan,
I wish to see how strong the son of Nolan is.
who, by the way, helped defeat Thrag. But again, one of the best statements about Omni-Man comes from Thrag. When Omni-Man makes Thrag bleed, Thrag says, "Well done. In my absence, maybe you were the most qualified to lead." And knowing Thrag, who only shows respect through strength, he is definitely referring to Omni-Man's physical strength, meaning that Thrag acknowledges him as the strongest Viltrumite next to himself. By the way, it seems like while I was making this video, I discovered that Ryan Ottley, one of the artists who drew the comics, was asked by a fan, hypothetically, who would win in a fight between Omni-Man and Conquest? And Ryan Ottley answered with an image of Omni-Man, quoting, "This guy." So, I guess this is kind of settled. While Conquest has his own statements that might make most people think that he would win, he simply lacks feats and screen time. The only Viltrumite we saw him fighting is Mark, who is far from his prime. Omni-Man, on the other hand, butchers Viltrumites on a daily basis and even goes against Thrag himself. And believe me, I'm not saying Conquest can't do the same, but we just never saw him do something like this. If Nolan could make Thrag bleed and impress him, he definitely can hurt Conquest way more than that. Now you might say, Nolan himself called him the greatest warrior. True, but it was simply an act of respect and due to Conquest's reputation. Nolan never actually fought Conquest, and the only reason he thought he was strong is because of that reputation, while Nolan himself fought enemies much stronger than Conquest. And Nolan at this time was not the same Nolan from the beginning. His mindset changed a lot. Viltrumites were raised as ruthless soldiers, and showing fear was a sign of weakness. If their opponent is supposedly stronger, they will still fight to prove that they aren't weak, and if you die in battle, then you deserve it. Conquest would be lucky that Omni-Man no longer had his Season 1 mindset. While statements might be loud, they're all based on Conquest's reputation and not feats. And when you look at feats, Omni-Man pretty much did everything Conquest did physically and has faced enemies much stronger than Conquest. So, in conclusion, if you think about it, the only reason Conquest can be considered stronger than Omni-Man is very dependent on statements rather than feats. And even this is arguably wrong because we have statements from Ryan Ottley, and Thrag also called Nolan possibly the second strongest Viltrumite. Now, even if statements can't convince you, I don't know what can. Not only by statements is Omni-Man comparable to Conquest, but by feats he is possibly stronger. He also shows greater intelligence, skills, and is just a better combatant overall, while Conquest always treats fights like a game, which cost him his life, if I may remind you. The narrative really tries to say that Conquest is the scariest and most dangerous Viltrumite except Thrag. But later, it also tries to imply that Emperor Omni-Man became stronger after the time skip. earning his title of Emperor both by strength and wisdom. Guess this is it. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right. Now, half of this video was based on the comics, and we know that sometimes the show might slightly change specific moments from them. So with Season 4 incoming, with the return of Conquest, there might be a chance that we will get to see a small fight between Conquest and Omni-Man. So who knows? Maybe Conquest will be stronger in the show. But until then, see you later and thanks for watching. Feel free to leave your take on this topic and tell me if I left something out.